It's on air, online, on mobile. Fox Toledo News starts right now.
The gentlemen, all the firemen that were coming from their homes, the whole village was lit up like it was daylight.
You see it there, a train carrying nearly 800,000 gallons of ethanol derails and sparks a massive fire in Hancock County. Good evening. I'm Laura Emerson. Thanks for staying up late with us. That early morning fire forced dozens of families out of their homes, and several fire departments, nearly 100 firefighters in all, were called in to help. Fox Toledo has been on this story all day. SHAUN HEGARTY joins us now live from Arcadia, where the derailment happened. SHAUN, what's going on right now?
Well, I can tell you here, Laura, from County Road 216, as you can see over my shoulder here, that fire is continuing to burn almost 24 hours after it started. Now, Norfolk Southern crews at this point are handling this. We have local firefighters standing by, but the point right now is to just let this thing burn out. At this point, we have 4 to 5 families that are still being told to stay out of their homes. They probably won't be allowed into their homes again until morning. So how did we get to this point? Fox Toledo, Sharia Davis explains.
Firefighters say it started with 2 cars falling slightly off the tracks, pulling the rest of the train off behind it.
All of the cars were carrying ethanol.
26 tanker cars, each carrying 30,000 gallons of ethanol. Crews with the Washington Township Fire Department say they haven't seen a derailment followed by a massive explosion like this in over 50 years.
Had it been 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute later, depending on how fast the train was going, it would have been right in the middle of our village. Could have been really, really bad. Burns very clean and rapidly. The fireball was several hundred feet in the air when each one of those cars would levy.
Captain BREYMAN says the locomotive was coming from Chicago heading to the Carolinas. As soon as firefighters arrived on the scene, their initial reaction, evacuating nearly 30 homes nearby.
I don't think that any of the residents were damaged. There were some that were relatively close, but everybody got out.
The cause is still unknown, and right now railroad crews from Norfolk Southern have taken over their plan to let the ethanol burn out on its own. Chief Stoner says all fire departments are on standby until help is needed.
They've brought their own foam and stuff in. Like I said, at this point we are basically going to fall into a support role and supply the water. We've got stuff in place to get them repaired, but until everything is moved out of the way, it could be tomorrow, it could be 2 days, it could be 3 days.
Reporting in Arcadia, Sharia Davis, Fox Toledo News.
50 to 80 trains go through Arcadia here every day, so noise is not a big surprise to neighbors out here. But when they heard the explosion today, a lot of them actually thought it was the co-op out here, which is actually in the background. We're told there was actually no damage out there, but that was the initial thought. At least one couple here, when they heard the explosion, they packed their bag because they knew something terrible had happened.
As I came out, was just going to watch a small explosion, and our neighbors from down the road, down on both sides, were down here with us. Mm-hmm. And I could see the glow just getting brighter and brighter. And I told my neighbor here, I said that there's something really big. And when the detonation took place, it shuddered. We were standing on the porch here, and I mean, you could just feel this vroom, this just shudder. And then it was a fireball, almost like a nuclear. I mean, the mushroom cloud just kept rising and rising.
There were 3 explosions that we heard. The last explosion, we were actually standing out here on our deck, and you could feel the heat from the fire on our deck. It just felt warm. Yeah. The whole atmosphere was just warm.
It's amazing with that description. No one was injured in this whole incident out here. As we have support crews even now from Kentucky that have come in. What they're doing now is they're moving some of the cars out of their way. They're trying to get rid of as much fuel as possible as they continue to go in there. And an investigation most certainly will continue. As for a cause, Laura, they don't have one yet. Let's go back to you in the studio.
Well, thankfully, it did happen outside of town and not in town. Does having all of the wreckage out in an open area look like it'll help with cleanup as well?
Yeah, that's actually a great point, Laura, because there is so much space out there that they're not worried about a whole bunch of houses out there when they're moving all the cars around. They actually have plenty of space to work with. Town is just a little ways away, so very thankful that it didn't happen there, and very fortunate right now for the crews that have plenty of space to move whatever they need to move, discharge as much fuel as they need to, and essentially just let this fire burn out without affecting anybody here in the area.
One more quick question. What about the weather this morning? Was it a problem in any way?
I actually asked one of the fire captain here earlier in the day, I mean, what kind of conditions did they have? Did weather play a role? And all he told me was it was cold. So it didn't sound like there was a whole lot of precipitation. We have plenty of snow out here, which we've had for what feels like the last couple of months almost. But cold was the big thing out here, so it remains to be seen whether or not that played a role in this wreck.
All right, we'll be watching the investigation. Thank you for that live report, Sean. Of course, you will want to stay with Fox Toledo for continuing coverage of the tanker train explosion. We will bring you the latest information on air tomorrow during Fox Toledo News all through the day. You can also find the latest updates online at foxtoledo.com. And if you're not near a computer, you can get those updates on your mobile device.